Hello, beautiful, lovely, gorgeous people. How are you? So, I am recording on my phone, so I am just going to yap and try to yap as straightforward as possible because it is 11 o'clock. I don't know why I decided to do this at 11 o'clock, but I mean, it is August 1st, 2026. Um, and I'm not cutting anything out because honestly, I just want to learn how to talk very fluidly and try to avoid the gaps. But sometimes it's hard because my brain is just doesn't brain consistently, and it feels like my brain jumps from tab to tab. I don't know, computer malfunction. But anyways, today, what was monumental because me and my people, finally launched the Dear Diaries account. And it honestly is such an experience to collaborate with people again because the last time I truly collaborated with people like on a equivalent level, because when you do jobs and stuff, it's less of like you working with people. Sometimes you're just like, yes, you work with people, but a lot of times like it's less of people on the same level, especially if it's like a contract or internship or whatever. It's more people, there's someone above you and you're just following what they say. So this is the first time in a long time that I had to collaborate, and it being on an equivalent playing field. And honestly, it's been challenging me because with a collaborative space, and something I am working on this year is obviously I want a community, but also learning how to be a leader in community and step into leadership, because I always think I had a problem with trying to lead, even though everything in my birth chart says like you like being the leader. You do not like being told what to do. You like having your ideas out there. You like taking initiative. But for some reason, I always struggle with it. But literally, my entire chart, besides maybe 2 or 3 placements, everything else, cardinal signs. I am pure cardinal energy. So, the astrology people, girlies, guys, peoples, he, she, they, them, everyone will get it. But yeah. So really feeling like I need to step into that this year because the job market sucks. I'm not even, I can't sugarcoat it any other way. I've been trying to get a job, and yes, this is a scary thing for me to say because I feel like people will assume like, oh, I'm making excuses or whatever. But I'm literally tried so many avenues, even if they were not natural to me. Because even though, for example, I am an introvert, I like being home. I like being in the house. Okay, I don't really like going out, but I was still attending networking events and trying my best to step out of that. I reach out, cold message people on LinkedIn. I literally researched and joined a mentorship program to have someone to work with on like my resume, my LinkedIn, and just like all the things. And I feel like I'm hitting a wall, because even with getting interviews, it's like, okay, I get to the interview stage, but they always say like sometimes it's ghosted. Other times it's like you're not qualified, even though I don't know how else you need to be qualified for the certain positions. And I really am in a weird phase where it's like I'm past internships but don't have enough experience for entry level, and it's just very competitive. And even if you have like, for example, a portfolio, it's not enough. It is who you know, not what you know. And that is such a big struggle for me, someone who has always been a by the book person, less socialized, but very by the books. And sometimes I wish I had a lot more social intelligence, especially growing up, because now having to do life and go beyond skills and learning has been incredibly difficult, which is why sometimes I tell people it's not like grades are cool, you know, it's cool to learn things and understand things, but with the way education has been set up, it is kind of less about truly learning things and more about the competitive nature behind it. Because at least with the school I went to, everyone was low key competitive with the grades. And even if you weren't like in the same, like you didn't want to do the same things, you didn't want to do the practical things, even still, like I never really wanted to be a doctor or a lawyer. I had a very specific industry that I always wanted to work in, and I was going to go to another high school for that, but that's a whole different story. But anyways, I just still had that same urge to do as best as possible, even in the subjects I truthfully did not care about. And I think that just speaks to me as a person. Like, especially in the past, I was very all or nothing, and I gave my all, even to everything. And it's been truly a difficult thing to swallow, like getting out of school, because now it's like, okay, I have to do more things to take initiative. And I've been following advice, mentorship, programming, for example, but all the person can really do is give me guidance on my resume and LinkedIn. And even so, when I had given them those things, there was very minimal to edit because I was already doing things like the STAR method and like structuring in a very specific way, because I do care and I do put in effort and put in so much research. But it's like, I don't know what is not portraying that I just feel like I have a lack of visibility in the field. I don't know what it is. And I don't know, because it's not like we get feedback, and we are in an era where it's like machines reading our things, and even if we get rejected, we don't know why. They'll just say, oh, we passed because someone else has more qualifications. They give a very vague thing, if any, and it's usually like other candidates have a stronger whatever, but it's never like an individual thing, like when you spoke, like, and yes, technically they don't owe us, but how can we improve if we don't directly know like what is setting, like making that choice, you know? And it's like this hard thing where it's like it really was killing my self-esteem doing that, self-esteem just applying for jobs. And so I decided to, yes, I am still applying, but to throw my focus into making a project. And honestly, while doing that project and pursuing that idea, it really lit something up in me and reminded me like, oh, I do have these skills. Because honestly, when you're in the job market and getting rejected after rejection after rejection, it makes you question like, what am I even worth? You know, like, and these are things I don't really like to talk about on my podcast, because I do try to keep it like a positive space, in the sense like not like overlooking things, but a positive space, in the sense of, okay, that's the external thing. Focus on what you can do regardless of the external, you know what I mean? But that does not mean I don't have hard emotions come up sometimes when I'm in the process, and this is just one of them. This is just one of the things that are floating in my head, but that doesn't mean I'm not trying. And something I have been just like feeling and thinking and getting frustrated over is because I've always had this pressure on me to achieve as fast as possible. One, having an older parent and having an older single parent. And, like, I'm finally happy taking the risk, even though I don't know if it's gonna pay off. I don't know if it's truly going to work. And I'm terrified because I have all these, like, not just me writing on it, it's other people taking their time to contribute to it, to hopefully make something happen for them. It's my mom also hoping, like, okay, this leads to something, maybe a job opportunity. And it's like, I have so much pressure on me to succeed that I don't know what to do, in that sense of, if this doesn't work, I don't know what else to make life work. And it is a frustrating feeling, it is a sad feeling, and this is just a release, because despite these feelings, it doesn't matter. I'm going to keep trying and putting in the effort anyways, but I also kind of just want to document my headspace through this, aspect, because it is August 1st. And I'm like, okay, besides this, the job stuff, I'm in my head about, like, my health journey, because I've been plateauing and it sucks. I'm still down my weight, right? And I'm at my initial weight loss, which was because basically I gained a lot of weight for my height when I went to college, and it was a lot. I mean, even now, even with the weight lowered, I still have the crazy amount of back pain, but I digress on that one. Anyways, so then I decided to break up my goal. So I wanted to go from 170 to 145. I did that, gained a little bit back from it, because I just wasn't prioritizing a healthy relationship with food. And then I was like, okay, let me focus on this differently, and let me change how I see food. Let me change seeing food as a stressful thing and seeing it as a place to create, like experimenting with recipes and enjoying the process of cooking at home and making it like a fun little game to create a new way of creation and exploration. So that made it work for me. It also had the mindset of, like, what are these things good for? Like, everything has its own value, everything has its time and a place, nothing needs to be villainized, and that you can balance everything. You just need to be very intentional. You know what works on your plate, you know what timings help you stay awake during the day, and it's all about setting a strong foundation, at least to me. So that's in my head, but I literally keep going between like 143, 144. So basically I've been at this plateau, and I really want to push to the 130s. And I don't know if it's because I'm not getting good sleep, because I get very bad sleep despite, like, yes, I'm home, like, often, and I don't necessarily have a place to be because not working right now, but I still wake up extremely early. I still wake up around, sometimes it's 2 a.m., sometimes it's 3 a.m., sometimes it's 4 a.m., and sometimes I have to force myself to go back to sleep, and sometimes that doesn't work. And if it doesn't work, I just get up, I start walking, I start moving, I start setting up for the day, plan my workout. And maybe that's just too extreme, and I need to regulate a bit more, because maybe that stresses me out and I don't know. So just like thinking of all this and how, like, I might be why I'm plateauing, and it's also because maybe I need to readjust my meals again. Maybe I need to well, I do eat a lot of fruits and vegetables, and I don't weigh food out. And because that's a lot for me, but maybe at one point, maybe I should just track just to see what am I really eating, just to have a better idea. But then for the most part, most of the time, half of my plates are fruits and vegetables. So I just never saw it as super necessary. And despite like not tracking, I still lost some weight, but I know I'm getting into a stubborn time in my life. And also, I do walk a lot of steps. I've been walking like 15,000 plus, at least for the months of July. And I kind of want to reel it back and bring it to a range of 10,000 to 12,000, and then up more strength training, which I'm setting this intention and I'm saying it because strength training is so important, but it's so difficult for me to get myself to do. So I want to technically do 4 days a week, which seems like a lot, but I want to start it at a small period, like 20 minutes a day, you know? And I'm thinking like Monday, Tuesday, then no strength training on Wednesday, Thursday, then Friday, Saturday do strength training, and then Sunday complete rest day. And I hope that schedule, like I can follow through on that, because I really just want one of my goals to just hit this year. And honestly, even like right now, I'm working on a podcast episode, and it has been disgustingly hard to actually do this podcast episode, even though it's literally just about quarter one, quarter two, talking about them, those times, and trying not to sound like sad or disappointed that things hasn't come to fruition yet, has been very difficult, because I am trying to be optimistic. I really, really am. It's not natural to me, but that doesn't mean I can't be, you know? So, I don't know. It is kind of late, and this is at 17 minutes, but this has been a good yap session. So, I'm gonna get to bed. I should honestly be asleep by now, because it's 11. I don't know if you can see, it's like 11:33. And I know I'm probably still gonna wake up early. It's fine. But anyways, good night.